Hey there, I'm David. This is Does the Soul Exist? Part 2. It came from a video called the Kybalion and Physics, Part 7, at the very end. Part 7 called Creation. At the very end, I put down what I'm about to share with you at the very end. But this all came from that book, the Kybalion and Physics. There's my shameless plug. It's available on blurb.com. It was actually my personal search for trying to understand God by searching through what ancient cultures understood about God, as well as what we understand about science and everything. And I did it all on my own. So those were those results. And there's a lot of questions that people had. Not about the physics part. I'll deal with that one. But about this specific part. So if you like a religion, if you think it makes you a good person and you feel love out of it and hope out of it, this video isn't for you. So just turn it off. There's no point. If, however, you feel that your religion is better than other religions and makes you feel a certain animosity towards a different group of people, this video is for you. It can be really sad. So I promise you I will not leave you without hope. So I brought my little notes here because I'm scatterbrained and it's the only way I can remember. Normally I write my scripts out and read them. I don't like talking and showing my face, but I thought this one I should. So the laws of nature, what I base everything off on regarding this. The first one was the all is mind, the universe is mental. That means everything in this universe is created by this crazy intelligence. Not crazy, beautiful, awesome, unfathomable, I don't know. But it created everything. And it's aware of everything from every perspective, not just you and I or everyone else, every animal, but every single atom is connected to this intelligence. So your consciousness, and this is one of those questions, is a direct connection to that intelligence. Because I would like to think of this intelligence as like a watcher. But it's not just watching, it's also feeling what you're feeling and feeling what everybody else is feeling throughout the entire universe at once. It's that big. Is this intelligence God? For all intents and purposes for the rest of this conversation, I'm going to call that intelligence God, because ultimately this was my search for God. And the answers are not what I expected. So, yes, the consciousness. It is your connection to God. Everything about you is your connection to God. People that you meet on the street, you have a conversation with them. You're having a conversation with God. You get in a fight with somebody. You're fighting with God. You're fighting with yourself. You're fighting with God. Not to say that we are God individually. We are not. We are just a tiny, 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 tiny fraction. Say, for example, if God was a human body, we were an electron on one atom. That big. But this intelligence runs the entire human body. The entire universe. All of it. So, let's get to it. The soul does not exist. It doesn't pass the laws of nature test. It has nothing to do, well, it sort of has to do with the all is mind, the universe is mental. That's your consciousness, and it's connected to your brain, which is working when it's alive. Heaven and hell do not pass those tests. Alternate realities that physics are talking about do not pass those tests. There's only this reality. Length, width, and height. Everything else is chalkboard math, I call it, or religious lies. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this video, is because We have been lied to for thousands of years. Thousands. And it makes me angry that I see people walking around repeating these lies that have been told to us, pounded into us. People have been killed to believe these things. And the truth was not what was forced down our throats at all, even if it was done in a loving way. And I think that it's time for us to realize that. So heaven and hell, out the window. Souls, out the window. By the way, the original word for soul, nefesh, the Hebrew word, simply meant intelligent living being. It did not have to do with the afterlife. It wasn't until the books that came after the Torah that they started introducing, I believe it was Saul off the top of my head, as a ghost. And I thought that was strange because in the Torah, the God of the Torah never promised afterlife or souls, doesn't talk about ghosts, anything like that. He promised longevity of a certain bloodline, not eternal longevity elsewhere in a different realm, forever in heaven, worshiping and loving God. That's not what was promised in the Old Testament. But there's a lot of crazy things in the Old Testament, so I'm not even basing it entirely on that either. Heaven and hell, souls, I'm sorry, they don't exist. Afterlife, it's not real. It's a lie. I mean, let's take it as a joke. You know, the Muslims, certain extremists believe that if you do a certain act, you'll go to heaven and get 72 virgins. Well, what happens when you do all the 72 virgins? You get nagging. 72 nagging women. That sounds more like hell. Come on. It's just a joke. But seriously, think about it. Forever in one place, worshiping. What happened to free will? Why would God ask you to worship if he gave you free will? That's my biggest problem with all of this. It set me free from all of these religions. But it is a little sad. So we've talked about consciousness. Reincarnation. Reincarnation does again fall within the first law of nature, the all is mind, the universe is mental. However, all the ancient stories about reincarnation that I've read, it specifically says that those that are reincarnated do not remember their previous life, or that they were this reincarnation of, say, a certain god, specifically in the Hindu culture. They don't remember. So why would we? I think it's beautiful. Some people live great lives, maybe certain challenges that the universe is like, you know, that was a good one. Let me try again with the situation on a different person. Exact same scenario. Is that a form of reincarnation? I don't know. But I will say this. The Dalai Lama recently came out and said, well, he plans to reincarnate. Really? That statement is filled with so much ego, because reincarnation is not about a choice. It's about if it exists, someone gives you an opportunity, something, that great intelligence, God, would give you a great opportunity to try it out again, but yet you wouldn't remember your previous life. Now, all those recent stories that come out of the end of last century and early this century, out of random countries, a boy has the same scars, the body that he buried 3 years earlier that he was, or I don't know, something like that. Things like that, why do they only occur in really small countries where nobody's going to go and nobody's going to check the evidence? I mean, who knows what he was really saying? He could have been saying, I found a body right here, and there's an actual scar on his skull the same way that I had. That could have been just as real. You know what I mean? So, again, nobody remembers their reincarnation. What they're saying is entertainment, clickbait, unfortunately, because we want so desperately, understanding that our lives are so short, to live longer. And we're not the only ones. If you read throughout the ancient past, why do gods are always looking for some way of making their lives longer? Fruit of life, water of life, things like that. to stay younger and live longer because they go through the same thing we do. The great nothing, the great death, which is the end of a life. Out of body experience. The human body does have an electromagnetic field, just like everything else. Now, when you first start getting formed and the brain starts getting formed, the very first thing that gets formed is your eyes. This electromagnetic field is information running all through your body, also around your body. What if that information, while you were under extreme duress, went outside your body with that electromagnetic field and recreated the eyes and was able to, just to see what was going on, not the entirety of your whole body, just enough for you to see yourself? Possibility? I don't know. There have been reports of it. I don't believe it's a soul, though. I believe it's something that only occurs while you're alive. Once you're dead, that's it. And let's face it, the people that do die, that come back, while they're dying, they always claim, or a lot of them claim, there's a white light and a sense of love and warmth. And what if that is just a chemical reaction in your brain, allowing you to process what is happening, that your body is shutting down? Once this shuts down, the electromagnetic field of your body shuts down. So if there's a chance, and obviously there's something happening because it's been stated over and over again, people during surgery will see their bodies. It's crazy. So that's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, it has to do with something that occurs while you're alive. This is the darkest part of all of it. The truth about death. It was difficult for me to imagine at first. At first I just brushed it off. It was like, death. But it's crazy, like, when you die, you don't have eyes to see light. You don't have a heart to feel hatred or love, loneliness, fulfillment. You don't feel anything. Because there is no you. That's it. It's over. It's like, and that was it. And what really, really sucks is that the same thing that happens to a person, the worst of us, that prays and tortures the people that can't defend themselves, the youngest people, murderers, all of that. The same things that happen to them happen to us. Doesn't sound fair. But it is what it is. I imagine, as kids, we're often told, hey, Santa's going to come and bring you something if you're good. And if you're not, you're going to get cold in your socks, or depending on what you're told. And then you find out Santa isn't real. Either you find out on your own and you're pissed off because your parents are lying. 2, they tell you and you start crying and having a fit. And I see a lot of humanity, grown-up humans, acting that way with this announcement. What do you mean there's no afterlife? Well, what's the point then? Because ultimately, when the lights go out and you don't remember anything, everybody that you loved, you won't remember, you won't have any memories, nothing. There's nothing. There's no you. That's it. Then what's the point? That's something I had to contend with. It was very difficult. But ultimately, I remembered this was my search for God, and whatever the answers came, whatever they were, I would accept them. So I dropped all of my beliefs, everything, and started over. And this is what I found. And it's not the only thing I found. I mean, the whole physics thing, I'll deal with that. And I've made some other amazing discoveries. It's all on my channel if you want to check it out. The Pharaoh before Moses, or during Moses, where Noah falls in the Egyptian mythology. It's right in front of our faces the whole time. Stuff like that. I love stuff like that. But anyways, this whole death thing. The ego. It is sad that when we die, that's it. And you're only remembered by those that know you. And once those people are dead, no one's going to remember you. And no one's going to remember those people. And 1,000 years from now, no one's going to remember any of this. Except, and here's the hope, afterlife is filled with ego. Well, what about me? What about me? What about what happens to the lives on this earth after you die? Let me phrase it to myself, what have I done to contribute to making this world a better place for the future, for after my life? All of a sudden, ego is completely removed. And now, you want to do things to make the world a better place, even after you're gone. Isn't that something worth living for? To be mature enough as a human race to accept this is the reality. But it doesn't mean we have to be bad. There's no reason except maliciousness. And I believe that as a society, we're in infancy still, and we need to go through the teenage phase, which is where everything's crazy, which is all this information coming out, and everything we're finding out, not just from me, from all over. It's time to start over. Again, I said this in the last video, no one person, not Jesus, not an imam, not a rabbi, not a priest, a nun, anybody has that connection with God more than you yourself. And the Holy Trinity would be, now as the seventh law of nature says, all things are masculine and feminine. That includes this intelligence. So it would be like the Great Mother and the Great Father. That's what I call it. But like I said, I'm going to call it God for now. I don't know what God wants for us because I don't understand the mind of God. How could I? I'm just nobody. It's just me. I'm David. But I do understand that humanity needs to grow up. And the biggest problem is religions. People have killed to get into arguments over whose version of that religion is correct. And if you don't believe the same way that they believe, some people get angry, violent even, deathly even. What's the point in that? Because everybody's personal relationship with God is their own. Nobody has control over it. Nobody. You still have free will. Nobody has control over that. That's the greatest gift you were given. Free will. Not go worship me, not a false promise of eternity. Those are false promises. And that's, despite the message of Christianity being good, love one another, I don't like being lied to. I hate it. I hate Christmas. Screw Santa. If I had a kid, I would just say, well, there's a tradition of pretending to be Santa and we give you presents. So go ahead and pretend to write a letter to Santa, and I'll pretend to get it as Santa and get you whatever you want. Because I believe that lie is in preparing you to understand the bigger lie, which is Christianity and the whole Jesus. Well, if you're good, instead of a president, well, if you're good, you get to go to heaven forever. Really? And if you don't, you get to go to hell forever. Really? Nope. Time to grow up. So, with that, I leave you with the 12 principles for free humans. Again, I'd like to reiterate the hope part is what can we do to make a better life for the future past our own lives? Did you plant a tree? Did you write a book? Did you create some cool technology that helps people out? Some cool medicine? Some medical discovery? Cure for cancer? Cure for HIV? Who knows if they're already out there? There's so many things that we could be helping each other for the future. Even so simple as just having a child, raising a family, and remembering and teaching that child what it is to be good, but also reminding them of the darkness that surrounds us. And by that I mean like the times that we live in are so dark and messed up, and just, I'm nearly 50 years old. I've seen a lot, and not as much as like 1,000 years, but 50's coming up, and I've learned quite a bit. I just wanted to share that with you. So here it is, 12 principles for free humans. Sorry I ranted. I didn't mean to rant. This is why I write my scripts, because I'm scatterbrained. I don't have memorized. They're not laws. I am not a god. I'm not a demigod or any supernatural being. I'm just a human. So I am no one to tell these people, anybody, that these are laws. They're simply principles. So the Ten Commandments, where the word Lord originally was the word Yahweh. Yahweh also turns out to mean masculine and feminine. Just like all energy is masculine and feminine. All energy creates life. All energy creates the universe. That's where that word Yahweh got translated into nature. So we replace the word Yahweh and Lord with nature. This is what comes out. Number 1, there is nothing but the universe or nature. Number 2, do not worship. It is mental slavery. Now, with your free will, if you choose to worship, well, that's up to you. Your relationship with God is your own. Again, these are principles, not laws. Number 3, do not take nature in vain. Don't take nature for granted. Number 4, rest every 7 days. It's good for your health. It honors nature. Number 5, honor your parents or honor your teachers. Number 6, do not kill. Now, there's a moral question there for warriors between murdering and killing, but I'm not a warrior, at least not a physical one. Mental warrior, I don't know. But don't kill. Don't kill. Number 7, do not steal. And this does not just apply to material things. Don't steal other people. That is straight up evil. Number 8, do not commit adultery. Honor your relationship with whomever you love. Straight, gay, bi, lesbian, trans, you're into the group thing. I don't know, and really, I don't care. But for your own sake, honor that relationship with whomever you have. I would imagine it's like honoring God, because you're honoring love. Again, principles, not laws. But yeah, besides, your relationship with whoever is your own damn business, nobody else's. Number 9, do not covet. Do not want something that is not yours, including other people. Number 10, do not lie. It just makes life so much easier. The last 2 I added for good reason. Number 11, do not hate. If your religion or whatever ideology you follow put you in a place where you feel superior to other people, or you feel animosity towards another group, you're in the wrong group. What has your superiority done to help out this world? What has your animosity done towards other people besides causing wars, rifts, hatred? Don't hate. I understand on an individual level there's a person that's just causing you hell. I get it. I'm talking more on a social level. And again, these are just principles. And the last one, number 12. This is so important. Do not forget. We forget. We've already forgotten shit that happened on 9/11. 70 years ago. What was happening is happening now on a bigger scale. And to a different group of people. We can't forget history. You know? And you jump back into the ancient past and you see this and like, it really is true. You know, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. So let's not forget this time. Again, hope is we should be concerned with our lives on how to live a better future, leave a better future after our lives for future generations, for the world, for the earth, anything. And just remember this one last thing. You don't die to meet God. You're living in it. This life is your experience with God, whatever it may be, good or bad. It is. How you deal with it is your own. I imagine God just saying, let's see what this person's going to do. Maybe. How would I know? But I do know that this life is your experience with God. We got to stop thinking about death. That's all.